Yo, this is the Civil Fleet, the podcast focused on the activist-led refugee rescue and support missions across Fortress Europe with me, Ben Coles. In today's episode, we are speaking with Hendrik, a search and rescue coordinator for Sea-Watch on their ship, the Aurora, which is the small, fast one that they have based in Lampedusa. We're speaking to Hendrik today about a rescue that took place in March 2025. You might remember about this one. It was on a gas platform in the Mediterranean Ocean. 32 people have been stranded on a gas rig in the Mediterranean off the coast of Tunisia, I think, for several days, and it was Sea-Watch who went and rescued them, and Hendrik was the search and rescue coordinator for that mission. So he is going to tell us all about that. So before we get into today's episode, I'd like to remind you that the Civil Fleet is not just a podcast, it's also a news blog. So to check us out, go to civilfleet.com and you can find investigative stories, news reports and interviews and all kinds of stuff on there. So go to civilfleet.com. Also, if you would like to support the Civil Fleet, if you like what we're doing, if you like our grassroots journalism and would like to help us to continue to platform the amazing people that we have had on this podcast, then you can do so by going to ko-fi.com/civilfleet. That's ko-fi.com/civilfleet. And you can donate the price of a coffee there. That's the co in the Ko-fi. Get it? Anyway, you can donate the price of a coffee or the price of a Lamborghini if you like. Anyway, you can make a donation there. So yeah, check out ko-fi.com/civilfleet. Anyway, that is enough from me. Let's get on with the show. Hendrik. That's correct, isn't it? I'm saying it correctly. Like Jimi Hendrix, but Hendrik.
That's correct. Yeah, like the funny thing is everybody calls me Hendrix, like that is not from Germany. I don't know why, but maybe because of Jimi Hendrix. But I don't look like him at all.
Can you play guitar like him, which is more important?
No, not even that. I used to play bass in a punk band, but not the guitar.
Okay, Hendrik, thank you very much for coming on the Civil Fleet podcast.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
So it's really good to get you back on this. Well, actually, this is your first time on the Civil Fleet podcast. I spoke to you before I even started the Civil Fleet podcast. I have a YouTube interview with you and Darius, and because you were both members of Iuventa crew then.
Yes.
But today we're going to talk about Sea-Watch, and specifically we're going to talk about a rescue that you took part in the Mediterranean in March on the Miscar gas platform, which we'll talk about that later. I'd like to ask everyone on the podcast, Hendrik, to tell us about themselves before they get started, before we get into it, so people can get an idea of who you are. So yeah, can you tell us about you and how you ended up getting involved in sea rescue?
Yeah, actually, in my normal life, I've studied computer science and I worked in a company till 2009 and was then a freelance software developer. And as a freelance software developer, you also have quite some time you can dedicate to volunteering. Because of the payment is quite okay. And I've been a political activist for basically all my life. And in 2015, when the summer of migration happened all over Europe, some friends of mine, they had an NGO called CARDOS. They are now also active in Gaza at the moment. They had a rescue boat in the central Mediterranean and were looking for crew. And they knew that I was quite a capable rib driver. I was in the Greenpeace rib team, I learned rib driving with Greenpeace, and they asked me if I would join them for a rotation, which I did. And back then, all the NGOs were based in Malta, in the same shipyard more or less, and you get to know everybody there. And apparently my rib driving skills were okay, so other NGOs also asked me if I would join them for a rotation. And then in 2016, I joined CARDOS, on the Minden, which was a small rescue craft, 24 meter long. In 2017, I joined the Iuventa for 2 rotations as a rib driver. And in 2018, I joined the Sea-Watch 3. And then in June 2018, we were made aware that investigations against me and 9 others were going on in Italy for facilitating illegal immigration. And then our lawyers said we better stop this for a while. So I focused on campaigning for 2.5 years. And the investigations against me were closed in beginning 2021. I think it was March 2021. And 4 of the group were supposed to be accused. So they entered pre-trial, but 6 were the investigations against 6 others were closed, and I was one of them. So I immediately joined the Sea-Watch 4. And while joining the Sea-Watch 4, a job with Sea-Watch also opened. I was happy to take that job. And since then, I'm full-time employed with Sea-Watch as a search and rescue coordinator, which is basically training the crews for the rotations, giving the briefings together with the head of mission. And when the crews are ready, I go back home and do basically strategical advice for the ship from the back office. That is more or less my job at the moment. And I got into it because I was asked by friends, basically. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for that. It's a really detailed background. I'll just say that a rib, anyone listening doesn't know what a rib is, it's not the bone in your chest. It means rigid-hulled, inflatable boat. It's like the rescue boats, the smaller boats, right? Because you can't rescue people on the huge boats, right?
Yeah. So basically, once we see a boat in distress, we launch our, on the big ships, it's 2 ribs. On the smaller ships, it's often 1. And approach them, distribute life jackets, and then, most of the time, shuttle the people to the big ship and then bring them to a place of safety.
Cool. And you were talking about the Iuventa there, and we have lots of episodes with Iuventa members, not with yourself on the Civil Fleet, but I do have an interview with you from 2020 with Darius, and I'll have a link. People listening, if you look at the show notes, you can see the link there. Cool. And so, yeah, can you tell us a bit more about, I think everyone listening to this podcast is going to know what Sea-Watch is. But can you give us sort of a background, people who don't know what they are, can you tell us about Sea-Watch?
Yeah, Sea-Watch is a civil society organization that was founded in 2015. The people that founded it bought a small boat, refitted it in Hamburg, brought it to the Mediterranean, and their basic idea was to go out, find boats in distress, relay mayday calls to the maritime rescue coordination centers who are responsible, mainly the one in Rome and Malta, who are responsible for rescuing the people so that they get rescued, and also document what's happening there, because no one, it's a huge area where there's no cameras and nothing. And the idea was to make it public and make people aware, and through that change the policy. That didn't work out in the end, so we had to buy bigger ships to actually rescue people. And at the moment, Sea-Watch has a big ship, the Sea-Watch 5, and a smaller one, the Aurora, which I'm most of the time responsible for. Aurora is based in Lampedusa and is a fast rescue asset, a former RNLI rescue asset that was refitted for the Mediterranean. And we are basically waiting on Lampedusa for being alerted by whoever to go out and rescue boats that are in distress. Sea-Watch also has at the moment 3 airplanes actually that are doing surveillance flights in the central Mediterranean, and are also starting surveillance flights in the Atlantic. Now it's not done by Sea-Watch, it's done by HPI, but one of the planes is used for that. HPI is the Humanitarian Pilots Initiative from Switzerland, with whom we cooperate doing the surveillance flights. They have all the pilots, and we have all the other crew basically. And we are mainly documenting with the airplanes. We are documenting what's happening at sea, illegal pushbacks and boats in distress. It's basically surveillance flights.
Yeah. So they often, because the Seabird, is it Seabird 1 and 2 or just
Seabird 1, 2, and 3.
1,
3
2,
was
3.
Just Christ last week, I think, or this week even. I don't know.
And they go up often, right? And they will they often work with alarm phone, I guess, don't they? And
basically, as soon as they find a boat in distress, they inform all authorities, and after that, all the relevant actors that are involved, which is also alarm phone, but also ships in the area, and but it's basically a surveillance flight. So I'm not involved too much with in airborne, so I cannot say too much about it. But basically, they're looking for boats in distress and to document what's happening there, and then also other actors about it.
And actually, we have an episode 65 with what's his name? His name is Paul from the Sea-Watch team. Is someone else calling you?
Sorry.
That's okay, no worries. Yeah, so we have an interview with Paul on the Civil Fleet podcast, which I'll link to. And can you, before we start talking about the Miscar rescue, can you tell us a bit more, how does the Aurora work? Because I think the big ship you have now, is it Sea-Watch 4 or is it 5?
Sea-Watch 5. Sea-Watch 5, actually.
And that's quite a big ship, right? How many
It's a big ship, yeah. It's more than 50 meters long. We can take more than 200 people on board. We have a crew of 29 people there. And they are basically out at sea patrolling, searching for boats in distress. Aurora is a land-based operation. We are based in Lampedusa. And have a crew of 7 people. The captain, engineer, head of mission. We have a medical doctor on board and guest focus, like a person that is basically a cultural mediator, talking to the people in distress in different languages and also taking care when we have them on board. We have, let me just quickly think, the bosun and zip driver. We don't have a rib, we have a zip. A soft inflatable boat because it doesn't have a hard hull, because it's Aurora is 14 meter long, which is a really tiny vessel, I have to say. And we cannot have a big rib on it. It's just a small inflatable boat, which is still useful. And we also have a 7th position, which is normally an Italian speaker, to be able to talk to the Italian rescue ships that are on scene or the people in Lampedusa, because it's more easy to talk to them in Italian than in English most of the times. Yeah. So crew of 7, based in Lampedusa. The rotations are 5 weeks long. The crew is trained for about a week, and after that they enter into standby. Standby means we are on the island all the time, ready to go, like basically similar to the RNLI. They are sitting there and waiting for a boat in distress. And as soon as we get an alert, normally alarm phone is informing authorities and the actors on scene via email about boats in distress. And the case fits for us, we would go out and rescue them, often together with support by airborne, which is either our planes or Pilot Volontaire, who also have a plane flying from Lampedusa, and then either stabilize the situation, like just wait on scene, distribute life jackets, and wait for Italian authorities to come, like a Charlie Papa, we call them, because they are called CP, so Charlie Papa. And then either they take the people and bring them to Lampedusa, or if we are instructed by the MRCC or Rome, or if it's too far away and the Charlie Papa would not come, we would take the people on board and then often get assigned a port of safety in Sicily, like Trapani or Licata or Porto Empedocle, where we then have to sail for 16 to 20 hours to bring the people there. Sometimes we get assigned Lampedusa, but not every time. It depends on the weather, really. And basically that's our operational concept.
And has the Aurora been set? Because I know, often when the Sea-Watch 5 or the other big ships, when they rescue people, they often get sent way up north in Italy, right? They rescue people and they get sent up there. Has that happened to Aurora as well, or do you tend to get given, because you're a smaller ship?
For us, it's a bit different because we have a very, very tiny deck space. So if we have 70 people on board, it's really, really cramped, and people often get wet. So for us, it's not possible to go to Livorno or whatever. And the most logical choice for us would be to get assigned Lampedusa because it's the closest port. But for us, the distant port policy leads to us having to bring people to Sicily, which is already normally 10 to 18 hours more traveling. Also, we have limited fuel supply, so we cannot go further than Trapani normally. So yeah, so for us, like Sicily is the distant port, basically.
Yeah, it's terrible what Italy does. That it's really awful, isn't it? Um,
Yeah.
so let's talk about this Miscar rescue, which was at the beginning of March. It was a while ago now. Um,
Yep.
we've struggled to get we've struggled to get each other together. Right, I've been moving house, and so it's been difficult to get us together. But yeah, this was like March. This was a few months ago. Um, so I can't remember all the details now, but I remember writing about this at the time.
Yeah.
And there was, I don't remember exactly how many people there were, but a group of people made it onto an oil, I think actually not an oil, it was a gas rig off the coast of Tunisia. Yeah, it was really, and then they were left there, right? The Tunisians didn't do anything.
Yeah.
No one was doing anything. So yeah, so I don't know. Could you give us some background? Maybe you can
Yeah.
remember how many people there were, where they came from.
So basically, there was a rubber boat that had left Suvara sometime around the 1st of March, maybe on the 28th of February. This is a bit unclear to me. But on the 1st of March, the boat, like the people on the boat, called alarm phone that they are in distress. And alarm phone alerted about them because it was a rubber boat. The weather was like getting really shitty. And with these rubber boats, they don't survive long in bad weather conditions. So alarm phone alerted about them, tried to call the so-called Libyan Coast Guard. They said they don't have an asset available to get the people. They tried to call the Tunisians. The Tunisians said the weather is too bad, they cannot go out to rescue them. So the boat at one point managed to reach the Miska platform, which is this gas platform you were talking about, and also managed to climb on the platform, the people in distress, like 32 people. It was 33. One person died during, while trying to get on the platform. He hit his head against a steel structure, fell in the water, and then drowned.
Jesus.
Actually, and yeah, his brother was amongst the survivors, so the brother told us about that when we rescued them. So at first they were stuck on the platform without food, water, and anything, exposed to the elements. There was a storm coming up. The survivors then individually called alarm phone to inform them about the situation. At one point, alarm phone reached people working on the Miska platform. It's an active platform and people are working there. And they told them that they were sheltering the people, giving them food and water, but that the people were really in a bad state. But it was also clear that no boat was coming for them because of the weather, and also they were not interested too much, apparently, to get the people. The platform is under Tunisian jurisdiction. It's in international waters in the overlapping search and rescue region of Tunisia and Malta. And basically I was traveling to Lampedusa by coincidence on the 3rd of March for training the next crew that was arriving. So we basically just finished winter shipyard and I was going there to train the crew that was coming to the island. And on the way there, the situation was still the same. Seabird was doing surveillance flights and looking for the people all the time. And they were still on the platform. And when I reached the island, we spontaneously decided to assemble a crew because we already had the captain and the engineer on board. We had a paramedic with us. And we asked around on the island and found some people that were also quite experienced in doing search and rescue. So we assembled a crew of 7 people and just decided to head down there the next morning to see if the people are still there and then basically rescue them because no one else was coming. And that's what we did then. So next morning we went out with a quickly assembled crew that was experienced. So
because I remember the people that were stuck on the oil rig, on the Miscar gas rig. I don't know why my mind just wants to go straight to oil when if the word rig is involved. I want to say oil. Anyway, it was a gas rig. They were sending videos, right? I think Mediterranean Saving Humans, another rescue organization. They had these videos and they were sharing them. And they just looked in a terrible situation. They looked like they were freezing. It was March, but I assumed it was near Tunisia that it might be warm. But yeah, they just looked in an absolutely terrible way.
Yeah.
And so you got your team assembled, like the Avengers, and managed to get down there. So what was it like when you got there?
Yeah, when we arrived on scene, there was also a Tunisian Navy asset already on scene. And yeah, we tried, when we reached the platform, we tried to first reach the platform, and then the Tunisians ordered us to stay in a safe distance, what we also did, of course, because they were the on-scene command. And then at one point, the MISCA platform was calling us to ask us for our intentions, and we said, yeah, we're here basically to rescue the people, and if coordinated by the Tunisians, to take them on board. And yeah, then MISCA was talking to the Tunisians, and they took over coordination and said, okay, we should take the people on board and bring them to an assigned place of safety then. So at that point, the waves were still quite high, and it would not have been an easy rescue actually. So there was a big offshore supply vessel also next to the platform. So what they then did is they craned like 4 of the people that were on the platform at a time on the ship, like with a crane, like from the platform to the ship, and then like we approached basically the ship with our small rescue zip and took the people and shuttled them to Aurora, and yeah, then basically headed north and got assigned also Lampedusa, like luckily as port of safety.
So
it was 32 people in the end, yeah.
And they craned them. How do you mean that? So were they put on a platform or something that was then craned over to the ship?
Yeah, like these platforms, they have cranes like to normally transport goods from these offshore supply vessels to the platform, but they also have like a cradle with 4 seats where people can actually sit and also be craned between the ship and the platform. So like the people were like entering these cradles, sitting there like holding on like with their hands, and then like were brought to the ship, and then we basically took the people from the ship to our Aurora.
And how did they seem? Like they must have been in a real state.
Yeah, like it was good that the people on the platform actually supplied them with water and food. But I mean, they've been stuck on the platform for 4 days, and before that were on the rubber boat. So yeah, they were exhausted for sure.
And where were they? I remember there was some confusion over what language they were speaking. I think, well, at least for me. And when I was looking online to try and find out where they were from, do you know where they came from originally?
To be honest, I don't remember the nationalities at all. I was involved too much with communicating with the authorities and didn't have too much time to take care about the people on board. That was done by the rest of the crew, and I was basically involved in calling all the MRCCs, writing emails, and all that stuff. Yeah, documenting what was happening. So like, no, to be honest, I have no idea. I don't remember. But I think they were mostly sub-Saharan Africans. I think all of them were sub-Saharan Africans. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there was. I think maybe they were Ethiopian, but we can look afterwards. That's the beauty of editing. We'll find out after.
Yeah, yeah. I can send you the list we have actually.
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks for that.
I could have prepared for the interview, but sorry.
Me too. So that's okay. Yeah, and then where did they take you to drop them off?
Yeah, normally like when we have the people on board, we write an email to the relevant authorities where we ask for assigning us a place of safety. And normally like Malta ignores everything we write to them. We try to call them. They either hang up on us or tell us, yeah, we'll call you back, and they don't, or they answer our email and they don't. So at one point then normally Italy steps in for Malta, because normally Malta is responsible for that area, but they just don't care. So Italy then steps in, and Italy basically assigned us Lampedusa. And I think they did that because it was already a huge topic in the Italian media also, and the people were really exhausted, and it would not have been like humane to like have a like 15-hour longer journey at sea at this like small boat that is shaking a lot. People get seasick, like even crew gets seasick a lot on Aurora. It's really a small, shaky, wet ship. So we were lucky that we could bring them to Lampedusa, which was then I think a 6-hour ride from the platform, more or less 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, that's mad. Like, well, I'm glad they didn't send you miles away. That would have been terrible. Yeah. So then, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously that was just a terror. Like that whole situation was fucked up, and like it seemed kind of unique to me. But I mean, this happens all the time. That like people are dying in there all in the Mediterranean all the time. But like I don't know. I at least that was the first time I'd really encountered people stuck on a rig and just left.
Yeah, I think it happened before that people were stuck on the rig. I think the Open Arms had a rescue a couple of years ago where they took people from the rib and from the platform, and also MSF had a rescue like this. But it's not that often that people get stuck on the platform actually.
And what did you think of the authorities' handling of the situation?
Well, I mean, they were just ignoring it, and it's ridiculous because, like, in the end, you had this huge supply vessel there, and it was a quite safe operation. Like, I mean, approaching the platform, I see like this is a dangerous thing to do. Also, with a navy ship, like, I totally get that they wouldn't do that, but like, when I saw the operation, like craning the people onto the big offshore supply vessel, which is a safe operation. These offshore supply vessels, they are quite stable in the water. They crane the people on the huge aft deck, like there's a lot of space. People can just go there, and then the offshore supply vessel can just leave the platform, and you can safely approach them with a smaller vessel. So I think it could have done, days before already. So yeah, in the end, the authorities were just ignoring it, which also in the end led to the people ending up in Europe and not in Tunisia, which is for the people probably a good thing, or very likely a good thing, a better thing. But still, like this ignorance by the authorities, this is what we are witnessing every day in the Central Med. And yeah, it just makes you crazy because they're just not fulfilling their job. And also it's political decisions. Huh? Like, I mean, the Italian Coast Guard on Lampedusa, like what we experience is they are really active in rescues and are good in rescues, and like from what I personally witness is they are stopped by the politicians, basically, like doing more, I would say.
So like because the Italian Coast Guard, they don't always go out and rescue, but they seem to be much more active. Like the Maltese don't even do anything, right? And the Greeks Coast Guard,
we don't have to talk about, the Greek Coast Guard, like, I mean, they are the total opposite. No? They are taking the people that are on land already and like putting them in the middle of the Aegean Sea, like on small rafts and leaving them there, or just throwing them in the water sometimes. Like, I mean, there's a lot of documentation about that, and nothing happens. Like, it's just ignored.
Yeah, I mean, I just think what I'm going to say is pretty libelous, but like the Greek Coast Guard just seem like a fascist organization to me, in my honest opinion. They seem like they're doing stuff like that, and they're being investigated for it, right? So this is kind of based on some fact, what I'm saying here. But like they're just unbelievable, and the Maltese, I just can't imagine what's going on in Malta when there's rescues, and then there must be Coast Guards that are like, fuck, we need to do something. This is what our job is. This is why I became a Coast Guard. You would hope, but like they just don't do anything, right?
Well, like I don't have personal experiences with Maltese or Greek Coast Guard, but I share your impressions, I would say. And with the Italian, like, I mean, what I see on Lampedusa is they really try to do the best they can, but they are also acting in a political framework. And that's like basically also what stops them sometimes. And yeah.
So, do you know what happened to the people after they disembarked? I imagine it's difficult to know, but
yeah, on Lampedusa, like they are brought to a camp, which I would call a detention camp. Like they are not allowed to leave the camp, which I think even under European law is illegal because they're not prisoners. But the camp is really hidden, and you don't because Lampedusa is also an island with a lot of tourists. Like in the summer, it's full of tourists, and you hardly see any migrants, any survivors on the island. So they are immediately brought, like after disembarkation, they are brought to this, I would call it detention camp. And then from this detention camp, they are brought to the harbor, where they are then brought to Sicily by a big ferry. And then, like, I honestly don't know exactly what happens to them there.
Yeah, it's
pretty... But they are distributed to other camps, probably on the mainland.
Yeah, that's like Italy's justification for sending the refugee rescue boats all the way to northern Italy. Is like because we need to spread them out, right? So maybe they get moved from Lampedusa.
But there were also reports like from when this far port policy started, like that ships were going really north and people like that disembarked were brought to the south again. So like it's also kind of strange.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, obviously the reason they do that is to keep the ships away from the Mediterranean, right? To keep the witnesses away.
Yeah, and burn fuel. Like it costs a lot of money. It really costs like a lot of money because ships need a lot of fuel and fuel is expensive and like it's really burning a lot of money, like just traveling north.
And so so that was in March, the Miscar rescue. I wanted to ask about other rescues you've been on, but was there anything else you wanted to say about the Miscar situation?
Well, actually, what I think like it was a perfect example for like how Aurora can work, because like I mean we've been working on Lampedusa now for a couple of years, and we have a very good infrastructure there. We work a lot with locals, with local organizations, and we have a good network of people. And basically, we didn't have the whole mission crew yet on the island, but we found enough people experienced in search and rescue that we were able to like safely do this rescue. Like I was on the ship as head of mission, like just jumping in because that was not my role. Like I was just training the crew and then leaving the island again. So I just jumped in. But like from my experience and talking to the people and seeing their experience, I said, okay, it's a static situation. The people are on the oil rig. We have enough time like to think about how we do it. And so yeah, I was really happy that we were able to do that rescue. And I think it was a perfect example of what Aurora is capable of on the island. Yeah.
I think it was like it's another example. Like I always say this on the podcast, but it's another example of like how great civilian rescue is and how amazing it is that you guys can do that and organize it with not you don't have anywhere near the same amount of money as like the governments do or states do. So it's just crazy that it's brilliant, but it's also fucked up that it's left to civil society. Yeah. When these governments could do it themselves. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah, it shouldn't be our job to do it, to be honest.
No, right? So have you been, like, since then, I don't know, has there been any other memorable rescues that you've been on?
To be honest, no, because, like, I mean, I was mainly then coordinating the ship from the back office, and I will go to Lampedusa on Sunday again, and this time as head of mission for 5.5 weeks. So let's see what comes up. But I mean, Aurora was active in 2 rotations now, and we had a lot of rescues, quite successful. But like I would say nothing out of the ordinary. No, nothing I remember. Because like I mean, over the years I had a lot of rescues, and like some stand out, but like no.
Cool.
I would say nothing memorable.
So, what is the situation now then? Can you talk a little, I don't know, maybe you can talk about the situation with, I can't remember the latest with Sea-Watch 5. I don't remember if it's stuck in port. I can't remember. I've been moving house this past month. It's been crazy for me. I've not been managed to follow much news, but what's the latest with is it allowed to sail or not?
Yeah. Sea-Watch 5 is allowed to sail, and they just had a rescue yesterday, 2 boats. So we had some technical issues before, so that's why we did a joint rotation with the CI4. So our volunteer crew was going to the CI4, and it was the maritime crew of the CI4, and they joined forces and also had a good rotation where they had quite some rescues. And the Sea-Watch 5 left harbor a couple of days ago because they also had some technical problems with the rescue boat, but they were solved. And yesterday they had 2 rescues and are heading for the assigned post Livorno now.
So how far away is Livorno? Is that further north?
It's north, like really north. Almost Genova.
It's like I've said this before, like for people in the UK, I'm based in the UK, so in UK terms, it's like rescuing people from the Isle of Wight and being sent all the way to the Shetland Isles. It's such a long fucking way.
Yeah, I think you can compare it.
It is absolutely such a long way.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can talk about this either, but like, so Iuventa, people should go and listen to the last episodes I did on the Iuventa. Everyone's been cleared now, that the case has been dropped. I can't remember. It was like 5 people in the end, was it? Oh, I should know that. Four
people of four people of the Iuventa crew, but in total it was, I think, 21 people, also from other NGOs and shipping companies, and I think also 3 organizations.
It was a lot. I was there when the case was dropped.
Yeah.
It was an amazing thing to witness, to be around and to be around everybody. Yeah. Were you there? I didn't speak to you.
I was also there. Yeah, I don't remember meeting you, but like I was there also. Yeah.
We must have missed each other somehow.
Yeah.
And then what's the latest with the ship then? Because the last time I remember hearing I saw the Iuventa and it's like rotting away. Do you know? I don't know if you can share anything about that, but I'd love to know what's going on.
I think I'm allowed to share it. Like at the moment, we are suing Italy for compensation, and this case is going on still. Like, we have like surveyors were at the ship, and we're estimating like how much money it would cost like to bring the ship in the state it was before, and this is the money we now are suing Italy for as compensation.
Yeah, hopefully you get it. I remember that you've had press releases about Iuventa anyway. The Iuventa team have put out press releases about suing Italy. Hopefully that goes well, but it's going to take ages, I imagine.
Yes, let's see. Like the first hearing was already, and I'm not sure about the status at the moment, like when the next one will be, but we hope to come to a final ruling by the judge at one point, hopefully in favor of us.
Hopefully. I mean, I can't see how it could be, but you never know these things. Right, so Hendrik, I think I've asked everything I wanted to ask, everything I wanted to talk about. Was there anything I should have asked you, anything you wanted to talk about?
Well, a lot, but like probably not for this podcast. Thanks a lot for inviting me, and nice talking to you again after, I think it was 5 years, huh? Almost 5 years.
Yeah, it was lockdown when we spoke last.
What a pity that we didn't talk in Trapani last
I know.
Because it's exactly almost 1 year, like 1 year and 2 weeks now it was that the final hearing was in Trapani, I think, that the case was closed.
Well, I'm sure
or dismissed.
We'll get to meet each other at some point. I would love to get on the Sea-Watch, any of the ships. I have actually someone invited me to come on the planes, the Seabird, but I'm pretty nervous about that. I don't really like flying it that much. And spending 8 hours on the plane, I'm not sure that I could handle that. But
it's an experience, I can tell you.
The main thing I'm worried about is, what if I need to loo? What do you do? We've got to pee into a bottle.
Diapers. or just don't drink too much before.
Yeah, that's the thing, I think. Just don't drink anything at all.
Yeah, you might get a headache, but like it works. Like for me, it worked. I can tell you.
All right, Hendrik, thank you very much for coming on and talking to us. Thanks a lot, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, that was episode 70 of the Civil Fleet podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks again to Hendrik and everyone at everyone at Sea-Watch for the amazing stuff that they do and for coming on the podcast to talk to us. It's been a while since I've done an episode. I'm really sorry about that. I think it's been a month actually. Life has been really busy. I've moved house last month, and you know how crazy that can be if you've moved house. And my life should be getting back to normal a bit more, so I should have more time to put into this podcast. Anyway, at the end of the podcast, I normally talk about a couple of things. Let's see if I can remember. It's been a while. Go check out the Civil Fleet blog. Go to civilfleet.com so you can find some news reports we have there, some investigative stories and some interviews and things like that. Also, if you like what the Civil Fleet is doing and you would like to help support our grassroots journalism, then you can do so by going to co-fi.com/civilfleet. And once you're there, you can make a small donation if you like to help us cover the costs of running this thing. So yeah, that's ko-fi.com/civilfleet, ko-fi.com/civilfleet. And that's it. That's another episode. It's a short one. And we'll be back again soon with another one. Cheers.